And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky. And if you could sing any kind of music, like if you could be a musician, what would you sing?
Not fucking country music. That's for damn sure.
Wow. That was, that went dark really quick.
You know, I
wouldn't sing country music either, but damn.
No, it's so bad. But anyway, no.
Wow, way to alienate some of our viewers.
Sorry, all you country fans out there. I mean, I've been kind of forced to listen to it every once in a while at work because I demo speakers and people are like, "Oh, play country music because that's what I like." I'm like, "Sure."
And you go, "Oh, you're wrong. Leave my store."
Yeah, right. No, I just plug my ears or wander away while they listen. But I mean, okay. Yeah, we're not going to get into that. But anyway, I mean, pop punk. I mean, I like that. I mean, it's pretty much I do like anything but country. I'll sing along to a lot of stuff, but country is definitely not one of them. Now, take this with a grain of salt. If I'm watching this episode of The Simpsons, I am still singing Lurleen's songs because it's in my head and I like them. So
and they're catchy.
Exactly. So take it with a grain of salt about my views on country music. I will still sing along to this because it's The Simpsons.
So today we are talking about season 3, episode 20, Colonel Homer, which I believe the title of this episode is a reference to Elvis Presley's manager. I believe his manager had Colonel in his title as well. So, Yep. There you go. Yeah. Air date was March 26, 1992. So they actually took a week off between episodes. But we don't do that here at The Simpsons Did It.
No, we don't. Or summer. We're almost at the end of season 2. And just like season 1 to season 2, there is no break. You get us 52 weeks a year.
Yes. That's how many weeks are in a year. Okay. The math checks out.
I'm
not doing base 6 math anymore.
Perfect. I'm glad you finally threw out that Springfield Elementary textbook.
Yes. So, recap. Homer runs off to a country western bar where he discovers beautiful songstress Lurleen Lumpkin,
who we'll let you know was guest voiced by Beverly D'Angelo.
I have no idea who that is.
Neither do I, but she was guest voiced by Beverly D'Angelo.
Okay. So we get a new sax solo. Is it a new sax solo?
No, not a new. So they've all gone, at least this episode, and I think last episode, and I didn't write it last episode because I wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, these last 2 weeks, it's just the normal sax solo we got in season 1.
Gotcha.
So they're not having guest sax soloists on right now.
Chalkboard this week. I will not conduct my own fire drills.
Well, okay. Now, is that him pulling fire alarms?
Which is illegal.
Federal
offense.
Yes. Or is it Bart shouting fire like you can't do in a movie theater?
Which is also illegal.
Yes. So how Bart is not writing on a chalkboard in police custody.
Well, don't forget the police in Springfield are incompetent boobs.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I'm assuming he probably was like, hey, we're going to do a fire drill today. Yoink the fire alarm.
Yeah, but the only other thing I could think of is do you know how they did it in our schools when we did fire drills? Is there like a button somewhere that sets off the fire alarm without physically pulling the fire alarm?
I think there is because, now I don't know if this is an old wives' tale. I know I've seen it in movies. I don't know how our schools were like. And I think this might be more like a now thing. If you try to pull a fire alarm, like I think your hand gets marked.
Oh yeah, I'm just talking about like how does a school do a fire drill?
But I was getting there. So I'm assuming the principal has her own like little fire alarm thing that they either pull or hit a button to.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. Okay, no, that's what thank you for finally getting to my question. But that's what I was wondering, because obviously you just don't pull the fire alarm to do a fire drill.
No,
there's a way to do it. Yeah. And so I'm wondering, after your long story, I was wondering, so did Bart find that button? Like, was he actually conducting his own fire drills?
I
don't was that could, I mean, that's a possibility. That's a possibility that Bart was literally conducting his own fire drills by finding whatever button the principal would use.
I feel like he'd have to sneak out of class.
But it's Bart. I feel like hall pass, man. You can have a hall pass.
I feel like that's too many steps though to do that. I feel like him just yelling fire in the classroom is enough to get him detention.
All right.
So now you noticed this, and then I noticed this after you told me about this. The car that Marge drives in the opening sequence is not the station wagon.
Yes, and I don't know how it's already episode 20 of season 3, and I now, granted, it goes fast. Marge pulls into the driveway and scares Homer. Or, I mean, obviously in the future, she actually physically hits Homer. but in these early ones, it's more just Homer being freaked out and running into the garage. But I don't know how it's already season 3, episode 20. And we have not noticed that yet. It took this long for me to actually notice it. And now we're going to keep an eye out, folks. We are going to keep an eye out and see how long this goes on.
Yeah,
and not only that, but I want to keep an eye out for Marge's car actually during an episode.
Oh, we've seen it a lot.
Well, I know, but I want to keep an eye out on Marge's car throughout an episode and see which car she's driving.
Oh. So we get to the couch gag. This week, the Simpsons, they come in, sit on the couch together, but I don't think this is a repeat because we've had this before. I think it's a slight variation because they fall through the couch cushions.
Yeah.
But because I know we've seen this one before where they fall through the couch cushions, but I think this is a variation of that one. I don't think it's the same one. It could be.
Yeah, that I don't know because I know my book that I use. Actually gives me the episode numbers for each one, and we can try and see. Family rushes in. 19. Let's see here. 19. Yep, it is a repeat.
Oh.
The family rushes in. They sit on the couch, sinking deeply into the couch cushions. It is a repeat from another episode. So they've done this couch gag twice now.
Oh, okay. Wow. Man, we got pretty deep into season 3. Well, I think we had a couple repeats early in season 3.
Yeah.
So
another repeat.
Yep.
But that's okay. We won't hold it against them.
No.
Okay. So, opening shot, the Springfield Googleplex Theaters. And for those of you that don't know what a Googleplex is, it's a very, 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 very large number.
Thanks.
You thought I was going to do a few more varies, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, it's a huge. I didn't know. I thought the Aztec was the only movie theater in Springfield. Apparently, it's not.
Nope.
Maybe it's just a brand new theater that just opened.
It's possible.
Possible. Maybe we've never seen it. Either that or it's attached to the Springfield Mall, which most movie plexes are.
Yeah.
And so maybe. So the Simpsons pull into the parking lot and they're trying to find spaces and I'm sure we've all been through this where we try to pull into a spot and some asshole pulls in. Now, we don't know if Homer had his blinker on to signify that was going to be a spot, which to be fair is Homer Simpson. So probably not. But they try at least 3 spaces to get in and fail. And Homer's like, nuts to this. And he sees a spot that says compact parking. And I've parked. Now, I do have a compact car.
Yes.
And all my cars have been compact cars. But every once in a while, I'll either rent a car because my car's in the shop or I'm on vacation, somewhere. And the car that I get just isn't a compact car. Yeah. I still park in a compact spot. Now, what I don't know is I've never taken a tape measure to a compact parking spot before to see if they are legitimately the same size and they're just trying to fool people or not. I don't really know because I've seen SUVs park fully between compact parking spots on the left and right and not have an issue. But in the Simpsons, unfortunately, they pull into a compact spot and their car is not a compact car. And he scrapes the cars on both sides.
How are we looking on the right side?
A lot of spark. Yeah.
A little sparky over here, Dad.
And I mean, come on. That's just, I mean, yes, it's funny. Believe me, it's hilarious.
It's not funny for the cars he just ruined.
Yeah, that he completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And Homer's like, all right, everyone out the windows.
Well, you can't open the doors. I'm surprised they could get out the window.
Oh my God, that was so funny. But I mean, it almost makes me want to actually take a tape measure now to these compact parking spots I see and actually see if there's a significant difference in the actual size of it. It would be kind of interesting to know. Yeah. So they walk up to the movie theater and we see in theaters 22 through 28. So obviously this is a big movie theater. Do you know how many theaters your local theater has?
So there's 2 movie theaters here in the city of Green Bay. Because Green Bay is pretty sprawled out. I believe the one on the west side has, I think it's 17.
Okay, that's about what mine has. So I'm sure California, if I had to take a shot in the dark, California, New York, maybe Chicago, larger cities might get up to 28. But I feel like 15 to 20 is probably the norm for most movie theaters. And the movies that are playing in theaters 22 to 28 are I'll Fry Your Face.
Number 3,
yeah. So must be a horror franchise.
Probably.
The Smell in Room 19. Oh, must be bad. Yep. Space Mutant 6. So correct me if I'm wrong. We've seen 3, 4. We've seen the original Space Mutants from The Way We Was.
Yep.
And then 6 though. Did we miss 5 somewhere? Because wasn't 4 in the Springfield Jebediah Head episode?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, so we must have missed the release of 5.
Yep.
Honey, I Hit a School Bus. Which you kind of signify maybe Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes.
Maybe it's kind of loose, I think.
I think that's a parody of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Maybe. But no one's getting shrunk, so how could it be a parody?
Well, in the second one, it's Honey, I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah. Honey, I Dissolved the Kids.
Yeah.
The next, Look Who's Oinking, which is a parody of Look Who's Talking.
There's 3 of those movies, by the way.
Yeah, 4. If you don't know, it was an old John Travolta movie. I think either late 80s, early 90s, where babies talk. Late 80s, yeah. And The Stockholm Affair. And lastly, Ernest versus the Pope.
Which obviously is clearly a parody of the Ernest.
No, it's not a parody. I thought that was a real movie. Didn't Ernest battle the Pope? No?
No, I think that was a dream you had.
Okay. Well, I don't think... Okay. You say parody, but Look Who's Oinking, that would be considered a parody. Ernest versus the Pope, I think, is more of a actual joke Ernest movie. I wouldn't call it a parody because parodies are based on other movies. This is actually an Ernest movie.
But it's making fun of.
Yes, making fun of, not a parody.
Okay.
And so obviously Bart wants to see the Ernest movie. Yeah. But not the Ernest movie that was in theater 28. He wanted to see Ernest what was it? Ernest Cuts the Cheese. So apparently Ernest has a couple of movies coming out at the same time.
Well, I'm sure they're easy to make.
Yeah. There's no budget to those movies.
Yeah.
Lisa wants to see Honey, I Hit a School Bus. Seems kind of dark for Lisa, but it's related to school, so...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's kind of right up her alley.
Maybe.
And Homer wants to see Look Who's Oinking, because we all know Homer's a fan of pigs.
Pigs, yes.
And so Marge is like, okay, we're never going to make a decision here. Yeah. Kids, you go see a movie you want to see. Homer and I will see a movie we want to see, and we'll meet back in the lobby when we're all done. And so I like how Marge pulls out money for the kids to take, and Lisa just grabs money out of her purse.
Lisa and Bart.
Yeah. Instead of taking, and Marge kind of has this look on her face is like, what? Okay, sure. Go get snacks and everything.
And they wonder, in the last episode, she wonders why they don't have any money. Kids keep stealing it all.
Yep. And so Homer walks up to the counter, is like, 2 for Look Who's Oinking. Like, that's the movie Marge wants to see, apparently. And it's sold out, which, hey, Springfielders, I could see all of Springfield being like, yep, that's the movie we're all going to see.
Yeah.
And so Marge and Homer decide to see the Stockholm Affair. And Homer is so disappointed because he learned it was a political thriller. Because he thought it was going to be like hot. Like, he's like, oh, Marge, this is so raunchy and sexy. Oh, how could you pick this movie? And then he learns that it's a political thriller.
I mean, okay, if I told you they were making a movie called The Stockholm Affair, what would you think?
I might go Homer's route, maybe.
You think so?
Maybe. I
wouldn't think political thriller, but
I would think maybe thriller, maybe like a. And now, funny enough, yeah, it's political, but it's still a thriller. I feel like Homer could still get some use.
I don't know, because we see scenes from the movie, and I don't think it's. I think it's one of those boring type of political movies.
Maybe. I mean, there's a submarine.
That is true.
So maybe. So Homer's bugging Marge, throughout the movie. Yeah. And he's like, this movie's too complicated. Hey, the floor's sticky. He's like, who's that guy? What did that guy say when I said, who's that guy? And we all know there's these people in the theater. And our parents, I've watched a few movies with them. I will never watch a movie with them again. They are basically the Homer of this episode.
I do like the fact that when they're sitting there watching, Homer is drinking a slushie.
Yes.
And he's having, with a slushie, once you get all the liquid out, you just have the ice and it's kind of like hard to get out with the straw. So he takes off the cup and he pats the back to get it and it all falls into his mouth and he starts choking.
Yep. And then he's like,
which is probably why the floor is all sticky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It's all Homer's fault.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, that's so fake. And I know we've all done that. Look, you can see the strings. Ooh, an octopus. I think that's the spy. And he's like, oh wait, I've heard how this ends. It turns out the secret code was the same nursery rhyme as he told his daughter. And then everyone hucks things at Homer. And then we also see in that scene that someone throws a candy bar at Homer in the movie theater, and it bounces off of his head and hits Marge. Yep. And so now we cut over to Bart and Lisa, and apparently they decided to see Space Mutant 6 because Honey, I Hit a School Bus was... Lisa drew the short straw, apparently.
Yep.
And Lisa's like, tell me when the scary part is over. It's like, well, if you don't watch the violence, you'll never be desensitized to it.
I mean, you look at today's landscape with all the, mass shootings.
I mean, I feel like we're all I think
easily.
We're desensitized by it. I think the movies we watched growing up. I mean, I don't get scared at horror movies as much anymore.
No.
I love them, like the Saw franchise, although it's scary, it's horror.
I hate to break it to you, Saw is not horror.
Oh, it's not.
Gore. It is
gore. Gore. Well, I mean, I kind of consider it horror. I mean, it's kind of like the Hostel movies. I mean, maybe if you're talking like Halloween, but even that's still kind of gore. I think gore and Halloween are kind of interchangeable.
Halloween, I would consider more of a horror movie than Saw.
Yeah, but see, I don't get jump scared. Oh, because I've seen so much of it.
I think the last movie where I actually got I legitimately jumped, and I don't know why. I guess because they did a really good job of covering it up. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Don't Breathe.
No, I never wanted to see
Jane
that.
Levy. It's there's one part in there which they could have cut out, but there's a scene in there where like a dog jumps on the car and starts like barking at him, but it's like a really tense scene, and like the dog jumped started. I'm like, oh,
so you kind of threw you off. But that's good directing. I mean, that's the sort of thing. But sometimes I see movies nowadays, I'm like, I could see it coming like a mile away, and it just doesn't get me. But Lisa's like, oh, tell me when it's over. And Bart's like, oh, it's over. And she takes her hands off her eyes, and it's like blood red on the screen, and she starts screaming.
I could see you doing that to me when we were younger, but I don't think we ever watched scary movies together.
No, I don't think we really did. Like, I can't think of many horror movies, if any, that we saw as a kid. I mean, our parents were pretty against rated R movies until like American Pie came out, and I thought it was so weird that our dad let me watch it. Obviously you were younger than me.
Yeah.
And I was probably 15, 16 when it came out. And my dad was like, yeah, I'm all for letting you watch it.
Oh, he let me go see Matrix Reloaded. Is that the second one?
That's the second one, yeah.
He let me see that when I was 16. So.
Okay. He was probably like close enough.
So as Steve mentioned with quoting Homer ruins, the movie.
Yep.
And Marge yells at Homer like, nobody wants to hear your opinion. You know what? Good on Marge. The audience clapped.
Yeah, but she was like, well, of course he's a spy. You just saw him go through spy school. And they're just like, oh, shut up, Homer. No one wants to hear what you think.
Yeah, and so, to be fair, Marge had every right, and Homer gets mad at Marge, which, you know what? He has no right to be mad. He was being a jerk.
Yep.
There was one movie I went to go see. I for the life of me can't remember which one it was now, where there was like these two girls like sitting off to the side doing what Homer was doing. And they shut up after about 10 minutes, but like I should have yelled at them. Because they were being loud and annoying during a movie, and that's what Homer did. So Homer's mad.
But was he really? I guess he was. I think he was. I don't know if he was being loud and annoying to the entire theater until he ruined it. Yeah. It might have been more directed at Marge for everything else. But still, that would piss Marge off. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, they're driving back home, and Bart draws... He's like, you can see the anger bubble here, and then he circles his hair, and he makes an angry face on the back of Homer's head, and Homer's just like, Rrr. And so Homer stops off at the house, and he tells Marge he's leaving. He doesn't know when he'll be back again, or when she'll see him again. But as he drives off, you hear him screech to a halt, reverse, to drop Maggie back.
Yeah, he was so upset he completely forgot Maggie was in the back seat.
Yeah, so now we see Homer driving, and he sees a billboard for Flaming Pete's, and it's 75 miles outside of Springfield. So God knows where he's driving.
Yeah, where the hell is he going?
Every couple seconds, 75 miles, 50 miles, 25 miles, he gets to Flaming Pete's, and it burned down.
Now, the funny thing is everyone's going to forget about this by the time that we talk about it, because it was the part of the season finale of season finale of 32 that just ended now. So Spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't want to know. But we learn in that episode that there are tons of bars now in Springfield.
Okay.
So why Homer has to drive 75 miles to a bar outside of Springfield is beyond me.
Well, this is 30 years later. The Springfield is now built up. Maybe in season 3 they only had Moe's. And all the because the Flaming Moe episode, we see all these new like places with flaming in the name.
Yeah, so there's maybe they all closed down.
They all closed down because they were all the same.
Yeah.
So then he keeps driving, and he drives past a fertilizer factory and the county dump.
No, first a skunk.
Oh, the skunk. He's like, oh, what's that smell? And he holds his breath, and he drives past the fertilizer factory, and he holds his breath even longer. And then he drives past the county dump. And apparently, I didn't notice this. There's a cow on the top of the garbage heap.
Yep.
I missed that.
It adds to the smell.
Oh, okay. So Homer holds his breath again, and he lets out a sigh of relief, and then he passes a sign that says sulfur mine. Holds his breath again.
Have you ever driven past the sulfur mine?
I have never driven past the sulfur mine.
When you come up here, if you want to take a 20-minute road trip, I'll drive you past the sulfur mine.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I've driven through Kaukauna, and driving through Kaukauna, Wisconsin smells pretty bad. So I don't need to drive past the sulfur mine. So then finally, he passes a sign that says open sewers for the next 40 miles. And good question. Where is Homer going?
Yeah. Where is he going? I mean, we find out he goes to Spittle County is where he ends up, but where the hell is Spittle County?
It does not exist, by the way.
No, but there is. I Googled it. There's a Spittle County that's not a county, but it's like a, I don't know, like a not a state fair. Yeah, it's a bar. Sorry, yes, it's a bar. You are correct. And I didn't get the area where it is, but
I think it was North Carolina because I also
okay. Yeah, there's a Spittle County, but it's not an actual county.
So So he ends up at the Beer and Brawl, and we see there's a horse tied up outside.
Because it's a
country
hick bar.
Yeah.
Sorry, country bar.
Country bar. And so we get a shot inside, and we get one guy asking another guy to fight, and the second guy goes, "Those are fighting words." And and then another guy comes up and hits the guy with a stool. I feel like the joke here is, oh yeah, country bars, that all they do is fight.
Yep.
There's
or a Western bar, if you're thinking like old-timey Western bar.
So Homer walks in, he goes up to the bar, and he asks the bartender for a duff. And we find out that this bar does not sell duff; they sell FUD. And we'll learn why Springfield doesn't have it in a little bit. So then we see a stage set up for, like, musicians. There's a lot of bars do that. They have a stage and they have musical guests. And we get Yodel and Zeke, who starts yodeling, and some guy is sick of him, and he hits him in the back of the head with a chair or a stool and knocks him out.
Yeah. Sounds about right. I would do that. That's right up my alley.
So then the announcer guy says Lurleen is up next, and drink service has to stop for a couple minutes, and everybody boos at him, and they throw bottles of beer, and somebody threw a pig at him.
Yes. Now, the only thing I could think of is bar service would have to... I don't know why... drink service. I'm guessing like waitressing. Yes. Because Lurleen is the only waitress at this bar. So I don't know how they could be mad. They want to hear Lurleen, but they have to realize that they can't.
But do they want to hear Lurleen?
I think so. I think they're all into it. Well, she's the local. But
nobody
musician.
claps at the end of her set.
Yeah, maybe Homer digs it though.
Homer does dig it.
So Lurleen gets on stage, and also, to be fair, people really want drinks, just go to the bar.
Correct.
And so Lurleen gets up on stage, and she's like, well, this is the song that I wrote while cleaning up dried blood and teeth, which leads me to believe there's a lot of bar fights in this. So we get the lyrics to Lurleen's song. It's like, you work all day for some old man, Mr. Burns.
Yep.
You sweat and break your back, which I don't know if Homer does.
No.
Then you go home to your castle. Homer's house is not a castle.
Correct.
Sorry,
I don't think you have to keep explaining the lyrics. You can just read them and people will get it.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Maybe people have never seen this episode before.
Our listeners are smart.
Okay. But your queen won't cut you slack. That's why you're losing all your hair. That's why you're overweight. That's why you flipped your pickup truck right off the interstate. And I was like, well, that's all correct except for the the truck part.
So when did Homer flip his car off the interstate?
Oh no! It's like, now, so you talk so tough and act so rough, but your darling you can't hide the heartache and the sadness that's buried deep inside. There's a lot of
that part is in the second time she sings.
Yes. So yeah, but I'm gonna do the whole lyrics.
Okay.
So that way I don't have to read it twice. Because they don't want that.
No.
There's a lot of bull they hand you. There's nothing you can do. Your wife don't understand you, but I do. No, your wife don't understand you, but I do. And then at the last time she says it, it's like slow. It's close up on Homer's head. It's like he's actually thinking about it. I said your wife don't understand you, but I do.
Yes.
And so
but she doesn't know Homer.
No.
But the first time she sings this song, she doesn't know who Homer is.
No, but it's maybe it's a standard working 9-to-5 job type song. I would have to
maybe.
But we're also singing country music here, so you know.
Yeah.
And Homer goes up to Lurleen. He's like, "Oh, I loved your song." And which way to the can? It's because he couldn't go to the bathroom during the song. He had to hear the whole song.
Correct.
And so this part just got me. So like Homer apparently stayed at the bar like all night and all morning because it's like sun's out and Homer's like about ready to head home. And I guess they just don't close the bar. It's a Vegas. It's like Vegas. Because think of it. Okay.
Maybe did he drive 75 miles to Vegas?
Or outskirts of Vegas? Because remember, it's deserty out there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Homer drove to Nevada again.
Okay.
Homer likes driving to Nevada.
Yes.
And then the sign behind Lurleen as she's like talking to him is says Laramie High Tar cigarettes.
That's the sign behind Homer.
Or Homer. Well, behind both of them. Because it's in the same frame. And then also there's a sign behind Lurleen that says no biting. Because, they fight a lot. It's rude to bite during a fight.
Yeah.
And so Homer heads home and tells Marge that, not to fight. And, that's what it is.
Let's make love.
Let's make love and not fight. And, what I still don't understand, so Homer has the song stuck in his head.
Yeah.
And now Homer's at the job at nighttime, apparently.
Yeah.
Messing with it. Maybe he missed his whole shift beforehand because he was at the bar all night.
Maybe.
And, when he drove 75 to 100 miles back home, he couldn't go to work that day. So maybe he was making it up at night. Maybe that's why he was working at night.
Maybe.
And he's just playing with the electricity, listening to the song in his head.
And so as he's playing with electricity, we cut to a hospital where him playing with the electricity causes the lights to go out, and the doctor pulls out a gallbladder. Too late now. You weren't supposed to remove that.
Yeah.
And so after that, we cut to the bowling alley where Homer is singing Lurleen's song to his bowling ball, and Lenny and Carl make fun of him for singing to his ball, but Carl tells Lenny, well, he's bowling a 280. So then Lenny starts singing to his ball.
Yeah. Now,
I don't know how he did.
Now, have you ever done that? When I bowl, sometimes I'm like, all right, I'm just going to bowl and have the outside, the outside world kind of guide me. But actually, sometimes when I bowl by myself, I'll actually bring a pair of headphones, like my wireless earbuds, and bowl with a song in my head. And I feel like I do a little bit better because it kind of sounds like I'm drowning myself out of the...
I don't do that bowling because whenever I go bowling, it's with other people. I don't go bowling by myself. But I do disc golf by myself, and every once in a while, I will have music playing.
Do you feel like it centers you? Do you feel like you kind of play better when you kind of have something kind of distracting you?
I do it more because I want sound. Because if I go disc golfing with other people, we're talking and we're playing, and so when I go by myself, it's more like I need the song as a distraction to myself, because then otherwise I will overthink. So yes, I guess.
Yeah, so it is a distraction. Yes.
Yeah. I had to talk through it.
Okay.
I had to talk through things. So yeah, it's kind of there. I don't know if it's really to center me, but it's like if I have a really bad throw, it's like, well, I'm listening to a song. I'm not really thinking of my throw.
Yeah.
So then Homer's at Moe's and he asks for a FUD, and Moe goes, I thought they took that off the market after all those hillbillies went blind.
Well, look where they're drinking it.
Yep. And so Homer had mentioned he had gone to another bar, and Moe is very disappointed in Homer.
I know. You don't disgrace your bar like that.
I know. Bad Homer. Bad. No fun for you.
No fun for you.
It'll make you go blind.
He must have only had one.
Yes. Well, we don't know. Well, he was there overnight. We don't know how many he had to drink.
Hopefully not too many to go blind.
Yeah. So now we cut to, I think it's the next day or maybe the same day. Again, time and Simpsons do not go hand in hand.
Nope.
It is the Royal King Trailer Park where Lurleen lives. And there is a sign that says 14 days without a tornado.
Now, see, this is also where location for Springfield kind of takes a weird turn, because I don't know if there are tornadoes in Utah.
I mean, it's a flat land, but they're definitely not in Tornado Alley. Yeah. I know, here in Wisconsin, we get tornadoes all the time, but I think you can get tornadoes pretty much anywhere as long as you get strong enough winds. I don't know why tornadoes happen most often in Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Yep. Maybe because it's all flat land. I'm not a meteorologist. What?
So in Utah, overall, since they've recorded them since 1950, they've had a total of 133 tornadoes in Utah.
So it's possible.
It's possible, but they haven't had any since 2018. Oddly enough.
So it's only been a few years.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's very possible they're in Utah because
Yes.
they do get tornadoes. But in this instance, they've gone 14 days without one.
1992, they had a total of 4 tornadoes in 1992.
Yeah, see, there you go. There
we
you
go.
So Homer still can't get he goes to Lurleen's trailer, he knocks on the door and he goes, "I can't get your song out of your head. I haven't felt this way since Funky Town." And that's the song by Lips Inc.
Yep.
Take me down to Funky Town. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
No, you didn't.
I did. It's Towley. I had to.
Oh, is it?
Yes. The Omega Con Game Sphere episode.
Yeah. Well, actually, so for those of you that don't know, Funky Town was released in 1979. Yeah. So it was right around Homer's music. So apparently this was kind of also one of the things that styles of music that Homer liked.
Yeah. So Lurleen lists off some songs to Homer that she's sung. I'm basing my turkey in my tears.
With my tears.
With my tears. Don't look up my dress unless you mean it.
Unless you mean it. So
Jeez.
So every guy that looks up her dress, I mean it. I really want to see what's up there.
Yeah. And I'm sick of your lying lips and false teeth. Okay. So Homer, because Homer was telling Lurleen he really likes her song and he wants to get her recorded. So they go to Lucky's Records, where your voice on compact disc, 25 cents.
Yeah.
Which, did they? I should have looked this up, but I'm pretty sure CDs have been around in 92, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep, CDs were around. I just don't know if those like booths at malls, because I know those existed, like record your voice and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I guess I don't know I don't think they ever cost 25 cents. I feel like they were way more than that to do that.
Maybe.
But it's definitely not like a photo booth. There's a lot more to it than that. Yes. But there's so she goes and plays it, and she's really, really good. Everyone likes it. And so one other thing we notice is the guy playing a banjo, as Homer entered Spittle County when he goes past the sign, is actually next in line to record his song after Lurleen, which is kind of awesome. Yes. And so the guy walks up to him, up to them, and is like, "Oh, that's really good. I own a local radio station. You think we could play it on there?" And there's a long, unnecessary pause where Homer's like, "Is this a good idea? Maybe. If it's on the radio." Yeah, so then she's like, yes, it is. And so we get to the radio station, which is KUDD, KUDD radio, 570 AM, which do they, I guess maybe you would know, do they still do music stations on AM, or is that primarily FM?
I think it's primarily FM, but I don't listen to the radio much anymore. But I'm assuming they still do songs on AM nowadays. Back in the early 90s, I would guess there's a few,
yeah.
Because I remember actually in the mid 90s, I believe it was an AM station used to actually do audio episodes of The Simpsons.
Oh, nice.
So
that's kind of cool.
Yep.
So Mo is listening to KUDD at his bar and is brought to tears by the song, and says for the next half hour, beers are on the house. And once again, we go back to that episode where Mo specifically says, "I don't give away free drinks." And he's been giving away free drinks ever since.
Yeah.
And I like how Barney comes out of the bathroom. He's like, "What'd you say, Mo?" Nothing. And so obviously maybe that's the reason why Mo said that, is because there was literally no one at the bar.
Except for
Barney in the bathroom, so he didn't hear Mo actually say that, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Krusty is slapping Mel around with a glove because Mel won't stay away from Krusty's sister. And once again, we saw the backstory of Krusty the Clown. We didn't see a sister at all.
Not yet.
I don't know if we ever do. We'll have to put a pin in that. But okay, we saw him growing up. He was probably 13-ish years old. I think we saw him have a bar mitzvah. Yeah. I didn't see a sister of any kind. His dad doesn't mention a sister.
Maybe she wasn't allowed to go. Don't forget, he was raised Orthodox Jew. Maybe his sister wasn't allowed at his bar mitzvah.
Well, they are just separated in a different room.
So maybe we just didn't see her.
I don't know. She's there. I feel like there would be a mention of it during his origin story, but maybe not.
Yeah.
And then after hearing Lurleen's song, Krusty gives Mel $50 to take his sister on a date. So it even turned him.
Yes.
There was a riot at the Springfield jail, but Lurleen's song makes them stop, and Snake kind of has a tear in his eye.
Yep.
Bart does not look very impressed by the song because he's probably like us. Country music is dumb.
Yep.
And then Bart doesn't. Bart doesn't like country music because it takes away from shock jocks whose cruelty and profanity amuses us all. And I wrote, "Damn straight."
I don't like shock jocks.
No,
not a big fan.
But the music they play,
yes,
is great.
Not a big fan of shock jocks. I do. There is a couple morning FM shows that I used to listen to back in the day when I used to listen to the radio that were pretty decent, but like Howard Stern, I could do without Howard Stern.
Yeah,
those types. So Marge asks Homer to name country music stars, and he can't name a single one. To be fair, I can name like Luke Bryan and the guy on The Voice, Blake Shelton. That's his name.
Now those guys weren't big in the 90s. With Garth Brooks was probably the only big country star I could think of from the 90s, right?
Yeah, it's possible.
And Homer couldn't even name him.
Yeah, so Marge doesn't want Homer hanging out with Lurleen anymore. And so right as she says that, Lurleen calls to ask Homer to come over. And he's like, well, I got to ask my wife first. And he looks at her and she's like looking mad at him and like angry. And Homer goes, yeah, it's okay for me to come over. Like Homer is so like Homer's hanging out with her because he wants to make her big, not because he has feelings
so
for her.
That's one at least nice part of this. Yes, it's you still got to listen to your wife and still kind of, do what she says, but you kind of have to take her point of view. You're hanging out with this country singer who's absolutely gorgeous.
Yes.
And you should be hanging out with me. Now, if I was a manager, like kind of a good example, like Neil from Cuckoo Kangaroo.
Yeah.
Like if he wanted to grow up and become a manager and was managing, hot guys, and because he's gay, I don't know if anyone knew that.
No.
But he was managing hot guys, and his partner was like, "Hey, I don't want you managing." I mean, you kind of have to take a book out of any manager, like Hollywood, anything like that. Like if you're gonna manage someone, your significant other.
At the same time, Homer is only doing it because he's being nice.
Yeah. And
Marge feels like
I think
she's attracted to her.
Yes.
Because Marge is insecure.
But that's what I'm saying. I think Marge is kind of out of, but I think it's funny that Marge is insecure, but yet she keeps going back to Homer after all the stupid things that he does. And she does, like, look at the jock situation.
Oh, yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, how could she, of all people, after the jock situation, think that what Homer's doing is...
Yeah. To be fair, she could have easily, like, eased the situation, be like, well, why do you keep hanging out with her? And Homer could have been like, because I want to help her become famous and reach her goals, not because I'm attracted. Now, granted, that probably still wouldn't help Marge.
No.
But maybe that, like, communicate with your husband, Marge. Don't just look at him annoyingly mad. Like,
yeah.
I know she told him not to hang out with her anymore, but Homer doesn't know why.
Yep.
So then we go back to the Royal King Trailer Park, where now apparently it's gone 2 days without a tornado. So this is like a couple days into the future.
Yep.
After the 14 days. And, Homer's being nice to her, and Lurleen goes, men are only nice to me because they want something, quote unquote, in return. And I love Homer's, and this is where it comes in where Homer doesn't want anything from Lurleen, because he goes, well, now I feel guilty for asking for a glass of water, because he's there to help her and be nice, because Homer is a nice guy. I feel like I got a little Homer Simpson in me, because I'm oblivious to things like of that nature with women, and so Homer is just oblivious to what Lurleen looks at when she looks at Homer. He's just there to be her manager.
Exactly.
So, and this is where, this is the point where Homer becomes her manager, because Lurleen's like, oh, can you be my manager? And Homer just lists a bunch of reasons why he shouldn't.
Yeah, I didn't write them down, but they were just everything from like, I'm poor at money. I can't schedule things. Like,
just off. She's like, no, it'll be fine because Lurleen. I feel like Lurleen's we know going on that Lurleen is in love with Homer.
Yeah.
Which is probably why she looks past all these red flags. Which, if somebody is giving you red flags, it doesn't matter if it's for a relationship, a partnership. If they're listing off things of why we shouldn't be doing these things together, you should probably listen to them.
Yeah.
So then they go to Corpulent Cowboy, which, by the way, I didn't know what the word corpulent meant, so I had to look it up. It is another way to describe someone who is fat.
So we all know that Homer shops at fat, big
Cowboy.
and tall stores.
Yes. So Homer gets a cowboy outfit, which apparently cleans itself with sweat.
It's because
it's the spaces. Space age? Is that what they said?
Yeah, it's like a space age material. Yeah, but it's funny to think about because every time I've seen like cowboys like in Texas or Colorado, whatever, I'm like, how are they not sweating hot in those outfits? I wonder if that's kind of the joke because I mean, if you look at any Western like Clint Eastwood, whatever, they're always wearing that stuff and it's a deserted area, you know it's hot out. How are they not sweating in those things?
I mean, maybe they're just used to it.
Maybe.
So Homer goes home and Marge is in bed and she's upset with Homer because of all the time he's spending with Lurleen and not with his family. And I love how like Homer's like, well, I guess you better not look at me then because he's wearing a get up. And I feel like Marge is jealous of Lurleen. Now, to be fair, I guess she has some right because Homer isn't spending enough time with Marge.
Yeah, but if he wasn't spending time with Lurleen, he'd be spending time at Moe's.
Correct.
I mean, take one or the other.
I feel like I understand Marge's point of view of being jealous of Lurleen, but at the same time, Homer's going to be making some scratch.
I know. And this is another, okay, we'll probably get to it, but yep, this is probably the second or third side job that Homer's taken on. Yeah. Apparently he's on maternity leave from the plant or something.
He's on maternity leave?
Maybe. Workman's comp?
Maternity leave.
Yeah.
He's not a woman. It would be maternity leave.
Okay. And so Homer asks Marge not to stand in the way of his boyhood dream to become a country music manager. And Marge is like, okay, Homer, come on. And I guess she doesn't know necessarily 100% what his boyhood dreams are. Like we talked with Neil. What did we want to do growing up? And what did we turn into?
However.
And Marge is like, dude, your boyhood dream was eat the world's largest hoagie. Which she did at the county fair last year. And then she pulls out a picture of him eating the big ass hoagie.
See, she knows what Homer's boyhood dream was.
Yeah. You could have a ton of boyhood dreams, right?
You're great. Right.
So Marge and Homer argue for 5 minutes about this situation because you could see when Homer walks in, Marge's clock reads 12:10. And when Homer leaves, it reads 12:15. So that's a good 5 minutes isn't a long time, but man, arguing with your wife, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And so Homer, I'm guessing he went to go sleep on the couch or something. Probably. I'm guessing. And so the next day, they go to Hicksville, USA recording studio, and the guy's like, "Yeah, a bunch of people have recorded here, except Buddy Holly. He thought this place was a dump."
I love the animation of the studio because it looks like it's falling apart. And again, they're in it's the Hicksville, USA recording studio. So I like that. I think they went on location to get inspiration for the recording studio.
Maybe just to see what one looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how Homer gives the guy his life savings to start Lurleen's career. Now, they couldn't afford a $750 operation for their dog, yet Homer's giving away his life savings for Lurleen. This money situation with The Simpsons, at least for the first 3 seasons, is so up and down. It's so outrageous. Yeah. I just wish there was at least some consistency. Either he's broke or he's not. Like, let's
pick one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, he could be middle class. I mean, that's fine. Like, you know what I mean? They afford pork chops in most normal situations. but give us a baseline. Like, don't say we're completely broken, we can't afford our dog surgery, and then the next episode say, oh, my life savings, here, take it. We don't need it.
But here's the thing with that. If it wasn't for certain situations, as we'll get into, Homer could have made a ton of money with Lurleen.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I'm not saying you shouldn't put some stake in Lurleen's career. But yeah, not your life.
That's why you just take a second and third and fourth mortgage out on the house.
Maybe that's what they've done.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we hear the Colonel Homer moniker.
Yep.
Because he's, wearing the cowboy hat. I think it was like, what did he call him? I can't remember what he said.
I don't remember.
Like Mr. Simpson or something. He's like, oh, call me Colonel Homer.
Yeah.
And I like how Marge walks in because she wants to see what Homer's up to. She wants to see what what Homer's been doing with his time. And Marge is like, Homer, you told me that Lurleen was overweight, and now maybe to Homer, Lurleen is overweight. But
I love this quote.
But to Marge is not. And then Homer's like, Marge, it takes two to lie. One to lie and one to listen.
I use that quote so much. I love it. It's such a great quote.
Because the person
he's not wrong. He's not wrong. It does take two to lie.
Yeah, I guess if you
one
don't tell
person
someone,
to lie,
it's not
the other
a lie.
person has to listen.
Well, you could lie to yourself. Are you saying you have a split personality?
Maybe.
Okay. So you're crazy. Got it.
But I can lie to myself. I'm one to lie. I'm making the lie, but I'm also listening.
Yep. You're crazy.
Yep.
So we hear Lurleen's next song, her new big hit, Bagged Me a Homer, where it's a song about
baseball.
Her playing baseball, but the subtext is she's landed Homer Simpson because she's, I would say at that point, kind of delusional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so Bart tries messing with the slider. He talks to Homer. He's like, Homer, hey, can I do a slap solo? And Bart's like, cut it. Or Homer's like, cut it out.
Yeah. I do like the fact that when Bart tries to mess with the slider, the audio guy just slaps his hand away.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, Bart asked to do the ham bone, I think is what
ham
it's
bone.
called.
Yeah. Can I have a ham bone solo?
Shut up, Bart.
Yeah.
But Lisa did get a sax solo in Bagged Me a Homer.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're actually using Lisa's talents in the show.
Which is funny, but I feel like if I was Marge, I'd be like, no, you can't participate in Homer's delusional fantasies about being a manager of a country singer.
Yeah. So, and also Bagged Me, so Bagged Me a Homer, the first song she sings and the third song she sings are all on the Simpsons album.
Yes. Yep.
Which is kind of awesome. And this is also on the album where Marge is grinding her teeth, which is super loud, which also leads me to believe this is a horrible recording studio because they can hear her grinding over the microphone.
Either that or that's just the joke.
Well, also it's a joke, but in a normal recording studio, you have, and even in a TV station, you have soundproof windows.
Well, no, I would assume that the room is soundproof. Otherwise, Bart's ham boning and Homer telling him to shut up would have been heard over the audio track too.
So why wasn't that heard then?
I think that's just the joke. Like the Marge grinding her teeth is just a joke.
So then we get Springfield Variety Magazine headline, Hicks in Sticks Love Chicks Licks. Say that 5 times fast. Jeez. So then we see Lurleen gets her own ad on a bench and some woman sits down to like feed the pigeons and Homer shoos her away.
Yeah, he's like, hey, this is our bench. Get out of here.
Yeah. So then we cut back to the Simpsons household and Bart, Lisa, and Maggie are packaging up Lurleen's album.
Yeah, I like how
Bart...
Go ahead.
Bart's putting the record in, Lisa's signing Lurleen's name, and Maggie is,
kissing the album. Now, why could... Okay. Yeah, we're outsourcing here, but why couldn't Lurleen be... Well, I guess maybe Marge was not allowing it, like Lurleen in the same house. But, man, I mean, I don't know. Maybe she doesn't have a... Maybe Lurleen was like, hey, Lisa, here's my signature, or just make something up. No one knows who I am anyway.
So Homer tells Lurleen that he got her a TV gig. And Lurleen responds by telling him he's as smart as he is handsome. At first, Homer takes that as an insult, which
he's like, "Hey,
fair, how dare you!" Like, and it's funny that Homer recognized that would be an insult, but then he also recognized, oh, she's actually complimenting me.
Yeah.
Because Homer gets insulted so much by his family and coworkers.
Well, he's thinking, I'm not smart, which means I'm not handsome.
Correct. But then he clearly recognizes, she thinks I am smart.
Yeah.
Because he was, in this instance, he was smart because he got her a TV gig. He's a good manager.
Oh yeah.
Which is weird because he said he would be a horrible one.
Yeah.
So then Lurleen's like, well, we kind of need a new song. And Lurleen was like, well, I don't want to keep playing the same song. So Homer's like, well, play something new. And so Lurleen plays a new song for Homer where she basically tells him she wants to sleep with him. It's like, well, I need somebody to bunk with tonight.
Yeah. And he's like, well, after she's done singing like the first part of the chorus, he's like, oh, that's good. All right, good night.
Bye. Because Homer is dumb and he doesn't realize what Lurleen is trying to say. And I do like the fact, as you alluded to, he goes, there isn't a man alive who wouldn't get turned on by that song.
Yes.
All right, goodbye.
Yes, that was so awesome.
Because again, Homer is faithful to Marge.
Yep.
And he's just trying to be a good manager. And then she tells Homer, because she has to spell it out, that she wants to sleep with him. And Homer's like, I gotta go, and drives home. And we come back, and Homer tries to sneak upstairs. We see Marge talking on the phone with either Selma or Patty, not knowing whether or not she wants Lurleen to be successful, because if Lurleen's successful, Homer makes a bunch of money. But then at the same time, Homer's on the road with Lurleen all the time, and Homer comes home. I do like Patty/Selma's response, like, wow, geez, I wonder what the choice is.
Yeah. I mean, okay, to be fair, if Lurleen gets as big as she could get with Homer, theoretically, and this is, you have this with a lot of bands now, is you have the manager that deals with the record studios and the press and stuff, and then you have a road manager who deals with the travel.
Gotcha.
So, theoretically,
but I feel like for just one singer, I think you could get away with one.
You probably could, yeah. But I mean, this is more on Marge's side. Like, hey, Lurleen gets big. Hey, Homer, let's have someone take care of that. And then at least everyone's happy.
Yes.
And so we get to the show called Yahoo. Good country TV show. And we get in alphabetical order, which these are definitely maybe not even, they weren't even in reverse alphabetical order. We get Yodel and Zeke again, who has a bandage on his head from when he got whacked at the bar.
Yep.
Butterball Jackson, Freddie Boy, and Freddie Boy and Yuma.
By the way, so I actually had to turn on closed captioning for a couple of these, because when they say Freddie Boy and Yuma, I'm like, what are they saying?
Cloris Moselle.
Yep.
Big Shirtless Ron. That's his name, apparently. Kind of like Larry the Cable Guy, right?
Sure.
Orville and Hurley. Cappy May. Hip Diddler. Rudy. And the Yahoo Recovering Alcoholic Jug Band. So it's a good list of characters.
And making her syndicated TV debut,
Lurleen. And so I love how there's a guy off in the corner from Rebel Yell Records, which I thought was an awesome reference for Billy Idol. That was fantastic. Now, it kind of is like Billy Idol is definitely not country music. So I don't know. I mean, yes, record labels can, manage, but I would like to say that the record labels that I grew up with, and I'm sure most people grew up with, they have a style. Like most record labels do have, not to say you can't mix and match, but most record labels do have a specific genre or style that they tend to go with just to keep their brand intact.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird, but it's awesome pull, but kind of weird and together. And he's like, hey Homer, or hey, what did he say, Sir Homer or something?
Yeah.
And he's like, or no, it's like, no. He's like, hey, you want to make a deal? And he's like, They don't call me Colonel Homer because I'm some dumbass army guy.
and he should have made the deal right then and there.
Oh, he should have. He should have done it. And so she goes to check on Lurleen to make sure she's all, ready for the gig. Yeah. And Lurleen locks Homer in his dressing room and tries to, make out with him. And, God, this is just, Homer's definitely smart with it. He's like, I got to get the hell out of here. But yeah, Lurleen kisses Homer on the mouth and his whole romantic life flashes before his eye, which is a girl slapping Homer during a game of spin the bottle. Ooh. Ugh. A girl thanking Homer for dinner in a sarcastic manner, then driving off. Getting slapped at a kissing booth after paying the $1 and then not getting his dollar back. Oh my God. And then finally, Marge telling Homer she will love him for the rest of her life, which, hey, happy ending. And Homer's like, all right, you know what? That's it. I can't do it. I'm out of here.
So here's the thing. So Lurleen locks the door. We clearly hear the clicking of locks.
Yeah.
And then when Homer's like, I gotta leave, he just opens the door.
He's magic? He used his psychic ability to change the lock from locked to unlocked.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, as Homer leaves, he asks Lurleen if he would have gone all the way with him. Come on. Do you really have to ask that? You kind of know the answer.
Homer is dumb.
He is smart as he is handsome.
So apparently he's ugly?
Yep. Not to Marge, though.
No.
So Homer unloads Lurleen for $50 after he's basically desperate.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing.
So here's the question though. So did Homer lose did he make any money? Did he get his TV money? Did he get the record money? Did he get anything?
I don't know. Here's my other question. So yeah, he's desperate to get rid of Lurleen, but would the guy really the guy wouldn't know that he's desperate?
No, I thought Homer said he was.
Maybe, but you wouldn't settle for $50.
No, that's.
But as we learn in I think it's season 16, we meet back up with Lurleen.
Yeah, we learned she failed. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he dodged, or maybe if he was the one managing her, she would have made it big.
Oh, I'm sure she would have. That's the thing. I'm sure she would have. But his love life over his apparent childhood dream.
Yeah.
So we get back home, and mind you, Homer is not in the house yet, not in the room yet, not anywhere yet. Marge apparently is watching this Yahoo show with Lurleen naked in the bed.
Now, we do know she sleeps naked.
I know, but Homer's... Okay, at this point, Homer's not... At least when she's naked in the past, Homer's at least in the bed. And I could get behind that.
Okay.
But... It's just, why is she watching TV naked in her bed? Especially watching a show of someone she absolutely hates. Unless she was actually trying to support her husband.
Maybe.
Maybe at that point, Marge was like, hey, you know what? If Homer's going to do this, I better support him. I'm going to watch the show.
Yeah.
And funny enough, how crazy would it have been if Homer comes in, been like, yep, I dumped Lurleen. And she's like, instead of saying, okay, so in this situation, Homer says, hey, I dumped Lurleen.
Yeah.
And then they make love and whatever. But how funny would it have been? Homer says, oh, I dumped Lurleen to make you happy. She's like, Homer, I actually did come around. God.
I do like the fact, so she's watching it. Homer comes in and Lurleen sings about, I kissed him.
Stand by your manager.
Yeah. And she talks about kissing him, and Marge getting upset, but then, saying Homer ran.
Yep.
And basically saying, oh, Marge has got a good one.
Yep.
So
they make out or make up while making out, I guess. Yep. And Homer throws his cowboy hat at the screen, and we get the credits.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love this episode. It's a really solid episode. We get, the only reason I'm gonna go with the 4 sprinkles. The only reason I'm not going 5 is because I do hate the Marge situation. I get she's kind of upset at the whole beginning of the episode with the movie and whatnot, and I don't know if that's just a boil over to Lurleen. like the anger from the movie boils over to Lurleen, and that's why she's so grumpy.
I don't know.
But I just can't get behind Marge's situation prior to this.
No.
And here's the thing. Like, everyone's saying, and I'm not even talking continuity. Like, let's throw continuity out of the window. Let's talk about the writers. Like, the writers' room, they know Marge's history. They know how she is. Yeah, you could be jealous. I get that. You could be jealous of your husband, but to go out and say, I don't want you to do this, like, it to me, Marge's reaction is just not the best. Like, I just don't like how she's portrayed in this episode, but I do like the episode. I love the Colonel Homer. I love the Lurleen, like, trying to hit on Homer. I love the fact that someone gorgeous like that wants to hit on Homer. So that's pretty funny. The song is funny. Everything. I mean, it's just fun. Great episode. I'm gonna go with 4 sprinkles.
I absolutely love this episode as well. I love the songs. I don't like country, but I love the songs in this episode. Usually, if there's an episode and the song from the episode makes it on the Simpsons album, I can almost guarantee you I'm gonna love the episode. I don't know what the correlation is to that, but it tends to happen that way.
Is there one song that's not on the Simpson album
that we've heard? I don't know yet, because I know the Michael Jackson one is on the album. These are on the album.
I think they all are.
And I've loved all the episodes. So we'll have to put a pin in that to see if there's an episode that has a song that I don't like. But the songs are great. The jokes are great. But I agree with you. The whole Marge thing and her being jealous, and that's fine that she's jealous, but you're married. You should be supporting your husband. The other issue I have is the whole, he gave up their life savings and made $50. Yeah. So was their life savings $50?
Yeah. So at the end of this episode, do all they have to their name is $50?
Like, it's weird. Yeah. And like the aftermath, could you imagine the aftermath of, oh yeah, I dumped her, I gave up all of her life savings. Marge wouldn't make love to him.
No,
Marge would get out of my house.
She would be even more upset than him being with Lurleen.
I know. So I still love this episode. It's great. The side jokes are great. It's a Homer-centric episode. I'm gonna give it a 4 sprinkles. It does. If they had fixed the whole Marge situation and made it a little bit more realistic,
it might have actually been a 5.
It would have been a 5, but I love it. It's a great episode.
All right, let's close it out with our very own Lurleen Lumpkin for our character profile. So, her occupation, cocktail waitress at the Beer and Brawl, and is an aspiring country singer.
Yep.
Her residence, trailer at the Royal King Trailer Park.
How is she still there when they get tornadoes?
Maybe the tornado doesn't destroy her trailer. She has one of those anti-tornado trailers.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yep. Her friends and family are her mama, her daddy, the triplets, Vonda Moe. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Piney Joe. So yeah, it must be just the people at the bar, maybe.
Yeah.
Her taste in men, slow-witted, balding family fellows.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Her biggest talent, hiding love messages in the lyrics of her songs. Now, I have to hand it to the writers of this episode for the songs. So great. The Bag Me a Homer is just so well written.
Yeah,
it's just really good.
If there is one thing the Simpsons writers are fantastic at, is writing songs.
Yep.
And I don't know if they like bring in a couple songwriters, or what it is, but they do a phenomenal job with writing songs.
Yep. Her schooling didn't go.
Nope.
Just like Homer. Well, Homer went. He just didn't do well in school.
I knew we did not.
Yeah. All right, guys, this has been fun. We all love our Colonel Homer.
Yeah.
And so be sure to check us out everywhere you can find us. Obviously, we're on episode 55 now. Ooh. So, I mean, if you haven't found us through social media, well, great. It might be part of your algorithms of podcasting. So if this is your first episode because algorithms said you should listen to us, find us at these places. You can go to Instagram, find us The Simpsons Did It Pod, Twitter, Simpsons Did It PC, find us on Facebook, The Simpsons Did It Podcast, on YouTube, just search Simpsons Did It Podcast if you want to listen to all of our back episodes on there, but don't feel like doing it through your podcast app.
Click the like and subscribe button so our own URL so you don't have to keep searching for us.
Yep, that's true. And then if you do listen to us on Apple Podcasts, be sure to give us a rating, give us a review, and we'll talk about it on the episode.
Also, go to buymeacoffee.com, donate as much as you want, up to, I think it's $20?
Yep. And we'll give you some free swag just for doing that.
And the more we get donations, the more swag we can build for you guys and send out.
Exactly. So, until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
And I'm Colonel Robert Skolansky. I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.